Hello everyone, with the Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Wednesday evening, April 24, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the dad's been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any other related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook from the US National Hurricane Center. And it's already shocking that the hurricane season hasn't yet started and they're already making special posts like this one. And this was actually made this afternoon for 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And they're basically saying that there's an area of disturbed weather with a chance of development, just a 10% chance. It states an area of low pressure located about 900 miles northwest of the Cabo Verde Islands has been producing a small but persistent area of showers and thunderstorms to the east of its center since this morning. However, the low is forecast to move southwestward at 10 to 15 miles per hour and into an area of stronger upper level winds tonight and tomorrow, and additional development is not expected. It states no additional special tropical weather outlooks are scheduled for the system unless conditions warrant. So they're basically saying that they're not going to make an update about this system unless it actually does something unexpected like developing, and with all of these very warm waters out in the Atlantic I wouldn't be surprised if it does so. But as they say, the very strong upper level winds look to be possibly going to be tearing this thing apart. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Either way, they also stated regularly scheduled tropical weather outlooks will resume on May 15, 2024, and special tropical weather outlooks will be issued as necessary during the remainder of the off season. So just in case we have another system, another swirly that looks like it has a chance to possibly develop, that's what they're talking about when they say special tropical weather outlooks, like these ones that happen in the off season. That's not hurricane season. You know, hurricane season runs from June to November, so these updates are very much special. It's quite interesting to see them breaking out the yellow crayon this early in the season. We can actually see the system spinning away right here on the visible satellite images right there to the northwest of Africa, to the northwest of the Cabo Verde Islands, to the north of the main development region, and it's expected to push down southwestward. And then I believe these upper level winds coming in from the west are going to be tearing it apart. It's already tearing it apart, pushing all of the thunderstorms off to the east of the system. Either way, if we actually take a look at what the models are forecasting regarding this system, we're only going to be going out to the next 168 hours. That's the next 7 days, just like what the Hurricane Center will do. So we can see the system right here that is represented by this L, the area of low pressure, not to mention the greens represent the showers and thunderstorms associated with it. So watch this time frame right here. We're going out to the next 7 days. We're seeing that it's definitely going to be moving off towards the southwest, closer to the northern edge of the main development region. But we also see that it is weakening. We don't see that strong L, we don't see those contour lines, we don't see that tremendous rainfall, especially considering that there's so much Saharan dust out there. It makes sense. And then as we can see, a strong frontal system comes in and starts to suck this thing in up into the northern portions of the North Atlantic. Then by the end of the 168 hours, by the next 7 days, it is very much out of here and it's back to regularly scheduled programming. Not much happening in the MDR at all. Either way, the Climate Prediction Center is actually making some forecasts regarding rainfall. This is May 1 to May 7, and we can see the Caribbean, more so this eastern and central Caribbean. We don't see much across Jamaica. embedded in some amount of greens. Hopefully some of that meanders into the Jamaica area. We know the greens, by what we see on the key on the bottom, represents some amount of above average rainfall, and we see that 50% chance, even a 65% chance in that. Even by May 8th to May 14, we see something similar, above normal rainfall. And it's quite interesting considering that May is Jamaica's secondary peak rainy season. So hopefully we get the rainfall that we should be getting, even if it's not above average. Hopefully it's the average, and we know the average for May across Jamaica is a bit of something. If we actually take a look at the bar graph, May we usually receive up to 213 millimeters of rainfall. That's what, almost, let's see, 8 inches or 9, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see exactly what unfolds, and I'll definitely be keeping you posted with this. Either way, we know the Climate Prediction Center, what it usually shows is not set in stone, so we have to take whatever this map is showing with a grain of salt. Let us take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can see that area of low pressure right there to the north of the main development region. We can see broken lines right here across sections of the northeastern Caribbean and Puerto Rico associated with a trough. And we can see the numerous H's across the basin that signal that the entire Atlantic basin is still being dominated by ridges of high pressure. Looking back at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see those low-level patches of cloud pushing from east-west, some thunderstorm activity as usual across sections of northern South America as well. Not much taking place across the basin at all. Taking a look at the close-up of Jamaica, we definitely saw that no video was made yesterday. As usual, you know, when there's no video made, it's definitely going to be sunny for the most part. But shockingly, a friend of mine sent me a video of rainfall in a section of Mapen, Clarendon. They definitely got in some amount of rainfall right there before the visible satellite images glitched out. Even sections of St. Catherine, not Portmore, but section of St. Catherine, got in on some of those clouds and maybe some isolated shower activity. We even got some of that activity in sections of St. Elizabeth and Manchester, and we can see it all even better on the latest infrared satellite images. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can pull up the visible satellite images. No, it's alright. So the infrared satellite images are actually showing some amount of cloud cover earlier this afternoon across sections of St. Elizabeth and Manchester. Even some sparkling white dots in there that indicate maybe some lightning strikes or lightning flashes, 1 or 2. Either way, section of the southwest got in on some amount of rainfall, even although it was not predicted for the most part. And I'm sure those areas and the people who live in those areas are grateful for whatever rain they got. Cuban Doppler radar images not showing much. Temperatures right now, you can see Montego Bay receiving 26 degrees Celsius, Kingston 27 degrees Celsius, and by about 4 a.m. on Thursday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston. As it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we're indeed grateful that for the most part across the Atlantic, we're seeing more so in the way of blues and grays that represent below average to average temperatures. Although this map from the GFS is showing 18 on Thursday, and that's actually 1 p.m. on Thursday, and Jamaica is embedded in more yellows and some slight oranges than usual. We're indeed grateful for the other areas that are getting on some amount of average to below average temperatures. Hopefully Jamaica gets in on some of that soon, as 1 p.m. on Thursday shows that Jamaica could be getting even up to 2, maybe even close to 3 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. We know the normal temperatures for the month of April across Jamaica are about 88 degrees Fahrenheit. When we take a look at the thermometer, 88 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 30 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 30 to 33 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperatures on Thursday. As it relates to the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see on the key on the bottom. The yellows represents the lowest end of the scale in terms of dry air. The oranges, the reds, whites within those reds represent some tremendous dry air. We do see a mixture of dry air and moist air is represented by the blues across portions of the Caribbean. But as it relates to the Saharan dust forecast, 2 p.m. on Thursday shows that Jamaica, which is under the word port, standing for Port-au-Prince, Haiti, should be in the clear, but the Saharan dust is definitely coming. It should be here by Friday. We're definitely gonna be seeing the hazy skies, maybe even triggering some amount of asthma or sinusitis issues in some people. We see those browns. It is not that very light shade of brown. We're definitely gonna be noticing the Saharan dust, the hazy skies, maybe some asthma or sinusitis in some people being triggered, some respiratory illnesses. Hopefully you are all not that affected. Hopefully we are not all that affected. Either way, we see a break in the main development region from the Saharan dust. So I guess we're going to be getting a break after this passes through over the weekend. As it relates to the wave forecast, we see a mixture of those lighter shades of blues and those darker shades of blues that represent anywhere from 0.5 meter wave height to 1 meter wave height, as we can see by the key on the bottom right. And that's because the winds, for the most part, will be coming in from the northeast, bringing more so in lieu of clouds to sections, or winds, to sections of northern Jamaica. And then we see those blues across sections of southern Jamaica. So all of that air could be piling up across sections of some southern parishes, making way for some isolated shower activity, especially across the southwest. Manchester, St. Elizabeth, they got it today, and they can definitely get it again tomorrow, with the upper level winds coming in aloft from the southwest. Some of these showers might linger across southwestern Jamaica again, and it's going to be something similar to what they got today, maybe even more. Especially if we take a look at the 1 hour total forecast in terms of rainfall. This map from the GFS is showing 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time, and we see the blues that represent rainfall across sections of Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester. Euro is a bit more robust. It does show the blues that represent rainfall across those very areas that we just mentioned, but it incorporates some more areas like Clarendon, even section of Kingston, St. Andrew and Portland. But we're going to be working with what we see in terms of consensus. We're going to be looking at the agreement in what both maps are showing, and we see it's for definitely southwestern Jamaica. So we're going to be focusing this forecast on solely Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth and Manchester for the most part. Either way, we're indeed grateful. The rainfall maps are showing that there's going to be rainfall somewhere in Jamaica tomorrow. We're in the month of April. We usually receive up to 114 millimeters of rainfall during this month. That's almost 5 inches of rainfall. So yes, we'll take all the rainfall that we can get to put some kind of a dent in the drought that some areas are currently experiencing. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we can see some amount of clouds bringing overcast skies and isolated showers and thunderstorm activity to sections of Honduras, Guatemala, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, as usual. Definitely sections of Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic got some amount of rainfall today. And we can confirm this by taking a look at the Doppler radar images from about 1:30 p.m. today. We can see where we had that rainfall, some tremendous rainfall, especially across northwestern Puerto Rico, where we see those yellows and reds. Definitely got some strong thunderstorm activity across the island today. You can also see some hit or miss isolated showers coming in from the east, maybe possible to affect section of Guadeloupe, Dominica tonight. Section of the US and British Virgin Islands definitely got some of the action as well. And if we take a look at the Barbados radar, we don't see much happening across Barbados right now, but we can see that there's definitely some isolated shower activity coming in from the east northeast. Gonna be affecting section of the island coming in from the east, pushing off to the west southwest. Maybe some isolated showers, maybe some hit or miss showers. Either way, I'm sure they're gonna be grateful for the rainfall. You can also see some of that rainfall heading into sections of Martinique, also eventually heading into sections of St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You can also see some rainfall right there to the east of Dominica as well. If we take a look at the weather view of Doppler radar images, we don't see much taking place across majority of the waters of the ABC Islands, but we do see some thunderstorm activity across sections of Cuba today, sections of Colombia, like what we mentioned earlier. Moving on now to the temperature forecast. This map from the GFS is showing 18th on Thursday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Thursday, and we see majority of the Caribbean embedded in a mixture of those grays and some slight yellows that represent anywhere from average to slightly above normal temperatures. And I'm sure they're indeed grateful for that. No tremendous oranges or reds at all. I mean, way above normal temperatures. Even some areas, even the Bahamas, Florida, getting in on some blues that represent below average temperatures. As related to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Thursday, yes, we see the browns that represent the Saharan desert. Well, that represent the Saharan dust, not the Saharan desert. Across sections of the central and eastern Caribbean, even some darker brown shades in there. Sections of northern South America getting in on the action as well. The ABC Islands, sections of Venezuela, Suriname, Guyana, French Guyana as well. And we know that could be causing some amount of hazy skies, maybe even triggering some amount of respiratory illnesses in some people as well. As it relates to the wave forecast, we see that the Caribbean for the most part should be getting a mixture of those lighter shades of blues to darker shades of blues. That what we can see by what we see on the key on the bottom right represents 0.5 meter to 1, maybe even close to 1.5 meter wave heights. And that's because the winds for the most part should be coming in from the east, averaging anywhere from 10 to 15 knots, as we can see by those bluish greens in there as well. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this. As it relates to the rainfall forecast now, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Thursday. We know the rainfall is represented by the greens, the yellows, oranges, and reds. The more intense it gets, is the more colorful it gets. So it's showing all the rainfall totaled within the next 24 hours. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS are in consensus. That sections of Cuba, sections of the Bahamas, not to mention sections of Haiti, Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico are gonna be getting it within the next 24 hours if they're not already getting it now. Sections of the Eastern Caribbean as well, anywhere from the US and British Virgin Islands east and southward. So St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, Anguilla, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, section of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, sections of Trinidad and Tobago. Skipping southward, we don't see consensus with Guyana, Suriname, or French Guyana, but we do see the consensus with sections of Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, sections of Guatemala as well. I know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus like this, the chances of actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for now. Thanks for watching.